I want to talk about aging. And I am in Greece right now. And I feel more beautiful than I ever have. And I'm 46 and I love my life. And the last time I was here, I think, what was I? That was in 2018. I had just turned 40, I think. Yeah. And I was like grieving the idea of ever having a partner. I mean, first of all, if you know my story, there's so many things I want to talk about in this video, and I'm just going to kind of like, I'm going to be all over the place, so bear with me. Also, this is a hotel that we spent $60 a night on. Like, I'm going to do separate stuff for like cheap travel. I'm really good at cheap travel, y'all. Like, we have 2 balconies. This is just one of them. What? Anyway, also, join my Patreon if you want to see more like travel-y kind of content, because I don't really do that stuff on my page. Personal stories. We have some lives coming up. One with the author of Uncultured. I can't wait for that one. And also the other one with one of Larry Nassar's, one of the lawyers that took down Larry Nassar, who represented some of the gymnasts. Anyway, lots of cool stuff going on. Just go over there, because I can't guarantee you're going to see my content because of the algorithm, but Patreon, you'll always get notifications when I post stuff. Anyway, so, and also I'm doing like Grease content over there too, because, you know, I just like to share. I'm an overshare. I can't help it. But anyway, when I was here last time, it was 2018. My dad had just died. I had left the United States a year earlier. I couldn't make a living in LA. You know, I've been doing comedy and storytelling and writing and all that stuff for, I don't know, almost 10 years at that point, and still was waiting tables, couldn't make a living doing it. I literally never got paid to do comedy in New York or LA. I think maybe got paid $20 once. There's a car full of people looking at me right now. Oh my God, I look like an influencer. Anyway, I was paying an insane amount of money for rent, waiting tables at a barbecue restaurant. Still, you know, I saw 40 coming. I think I was on 37 or 38. I made a video about this the other day about how 40 was easy. It was those years when I saw 40 coming, I was like, oh man, I need to like really think about this. Like, I really need, like, and I think a lot of women especially just blow up their lives in a good way when they see 40 coming. So I was like, I just needed something different. And so I got a teaching English job in Spain for the auxiliary program for anyone who is looking to, you know, you have to have money to move abroad. Most places you have to have like $30,000 or something, or $20-something thousand in the bank in savings to prove that you're not going to take one of their jobs. And so I didn't have that. I had nothing in savings. So when I was looking to try to immigrate to another country, especially in Europe, I was like, I'll try Spain, because they had this program where you could teach English and get a visa through that. So that's what I did. People ask me all the time how I got over here. That's how I did it. If you don't have a lot of money, that's how you have to do something like that. But you didn't have to work that many hours. It's like 12 hours a week, which was always end up way more than that. But still, that's when I started getting published. That's when my journalism career took off, because I finally had time and my cost of living was lower. So anyway, I'd spent a year in Spain, but I really didn't like where I was. You know, the government placed me in a town called Santiago de Compostela. And it's a beautiful town, but it's like all old people and like kids and stuff. But there's like no one my age who's child-free and single. Like, no, there's not a lot of 40-year-olds who are single, like just, you know, bouncing around trying to figure out their life. So it's pretty lonely there, but it just gave me a place to land. It gave me a legal way to be in another country. And it just gave me just time. You know, I didn't have a whole lot of friends, and also knew I wasn't going to stay in that town. So I was really like, okay, I'm going to figure out this like writing thing. It's like my writing career finally took off when I left LA, the place that everyone said that, you know, in New York and LA is where you have to be. And so I finally was like, okay, I've spent enough time. I spent like over 7 years in New York. I mean, I left a lot, but like I kept trying to make it in New York, and I didn't want to be in a big city like that. And I don't know, I couldn't make it. So then I tried LA and I couldn't make it. I was just like, whatever. I was doing everything but making a living doing what I wanted to do, which is fine. All that stuff, I don't have any regrets, but I just was like, okay, maybe I should just go somewhere else and be an English teacher. I don't know. I've done so many random jobs, y'all. So anyway, I had completed a whole year and I was going to go back to Spain for another year, even though I really didn't want to stay there, but I just didn't know where else to go. My dad had just died. When I was here, I was with my family. You know, I've always been like the lost child, you know, like the younger sister who just doesn't know what she's doing and just is like irresponsible. And by that, I mean, just didn't, just like was an artist. Yeah. If anybody who has ever tried to be an artist, writer, painter, actor, any of that stuff, you know what I'm talking about. It's very rare that you have family that's like, yeah, pursue that. Because there's a lot of security in that. I mean, unless you are a Nepo baby or just not even in the industry, unless you come from a lot of money and someone is paying for your rent and all of those stuff, you just you won't have stability and connections. You have to work so hard to even get, like, to have your bills paid. And even still, as we're seeing in Hollywood, there's never like security and until you're at a certain level, and it's very hard to get to that level. So anyway, I was just like the lost, whatever. Just, I don't know, like my family didn't really see me necessarily as like an adult, even though I was like 40. And a lot of things I did made it seem like I really wasn't one, but then they also didn't really know me and what all I was doing because I'd been gone for so long. And so last time I was here, I was just like, I don't know. And I said goodbye to my family. Because my sister's husband is Greek, like Greek American. His family is, parents are from Greece. They come here all the time. So I'd come here on family vacation with them. Like I met them here. It's cheap to fly from Spain to Greece. It's like $200 or something. So I met them here, got to see my family, got to see my nieces, spend some quality time. My dad had just died. I had just wrapped up everything in the U.S., like no plan of ever going back, and hadn't really dealt with that grief until just recently. That was like a pretty permanent decision I didn't know that I'd made. I just kept staying. Then I got married, and then I was like, oh wait, I guess I'm never going back, which is fine. I don't really want to go back, but I just never really. Every year I discover a new thing about that choice, and I've talked about that some. Like I'm like, oh right, like a lot of people who immigrate end up going back home. You wouldn't, or they immigrate and then they just can't go back because there's nothing to go back to. And this is privileged people. Like, this is not like people immigrating out of war or, refugees or anything like this. People who are immigrating, who have the privilege of immigrating because, white privilege, middle class privilege, passport privilege, and all those other things. Able-bodied, there's a huge discrimination if anyone with disability. There's a lot of countries that won't let you in. I've just learned that in the last couple years. Like, anyway, so the last time I was here, I was like kind of crying because I was like, well, okay, there's my family. Goodbye, family. I was going to spend the summer in France because my boyfriend, I was dating this dude long distance that I had met in Lyon the summer before. And then I realized while I was here that he doesn't really love me and that I don't want to go spend my time in his town. And I want to go to Lyon. That's a whole other story. There's a man watching me right now. I'm going to stop talking. So annoying. I don't know. When I see someone talking and then they look at you, he's just like, ugh. Anyway, whatever. Men. Ugh. While I was on this island, I realized that my boyfriend at the time just sucked. He did not show up for me for my dad's death. He didn't have friends. He actually inspired that piece, Men Have No Friends and Women Bear the Burden. For those people who loved that viral article I wrote for Harper's Bazaar, you can thank him for it. He is the one who made me realize how important it is for men that you are dating or married to have men in their lives who they can talk to. That became one of my non-negotiables for moving forward. Anyway, dead dad broke up. I was about to show up in Lyon. Didn't know the language. I highly suggest not doing that, y'all, but I just, whatever. I don't know. I'd moved enough by myself to like new countries. And I was good at making friends, moving. I lived in a truck for 5 years. Like, I'm really good at just like starting over and making friends and figuring things out. And even still like moving to France, not knowing anybody, not knowing the language, a little brokenhearted, and also grieving a dead dad. Probably the hardest thing I've ever done. And y'all know I've done a lot of crazy things. So I remember being here and being like, I'm 40 and I'm still lost. And if you've hit 40 before or anywhere in like late 30s or whatever, I mean, there's so much pressure to have everything figured out in your 20s. I just think it's crazy. I think it's crazy our ideas that like your life is over at 40. My life, I wouldn't say it began at 40, but y'all, my 40s have been so far the most fun, like the wildest, like the most growth, the most confidence, the most happiness. And I even look better. And I don't mean look better in terms of like my body type or like what's going on with my body and stuff like that. I have more wrinkles, but I feel sexier in my 40s than I ever felt in my 30s or my 20s. But I mean, because I had been working so hard on like healing all this crap, when people see pictures of me younger and they see them now, I look younger because my eyes, there's something in my eyes, there's something in the way I carry myself. I don't know, I get comments from people all the time that say that I look like I'm 60, and it's usually men, and it's usually single, lonely men who are trying to nag at me, and they are like, I know that most men who are 46 do not look like this. They look awful because they don't take care of themselves and they won't heal any of their trauma. Anyway, in my 40s, I had the wildest schmegs I've ever had in my life. Threesome, so many wonderful ones. I went to a schmegs club, one night stands. Like there's one party on New Year's Eve in Marseille where I like got this eaten in the forest in the middle of winter on the ground. Like, I have endless hooked up with a dude with a foot fetish. That was interesting. Did not know that my feet could be used to somebody. Wow. Anyway, I have the wildest, craziest, funnest stories. And y'all know I have a lot of stories. But I would say that, I would argue that most of my wildest, but like not dangerous necessarily, but just wildest stories have been in my 40s, you know? And I felt a lot of shame about that because I'm like, everybody else has it figured out. Everyone else is like saving for retirement and has 401ks and has like kids and like a partner. But like, I don't want kids, but also like, I really even then didn't understand what a revolutionary act it was to center myself instead of romantic relationships. Not center myself instead of like, I'm just going to go around the world and be like, but you know what I mean? My message. Friendships, community, really following my intuition, following my heart, instead of getting derailed by a man or getting derailed by what patriarchy tells me I should want. And it was really hard at 40 to be really happy and really comfortable in that uncertainty. I didn't know what was next. I really didn't. I had no idea that when I showed up in Lyon, France that summer that I was never going to leave. I had no idea. I had no idea that I was going to figure out all these things, that I was going to make a lot of friends, that I was going to like end up meeting Anthony. I don't know, maybe it was a couple years after I moved there. I don't know, whatever. I'd already like established myself. I'd already decided this is where I want to stay. I was building my life. And then I met Anthony, and then I got married. And if you know me, what? You know, like I am not somebody who likes to be partnered. I didn't see a point in it. It had never benefited me. So, you know, if you know my story, didn't even start dating seriously until my 36. And then that guy tried to unalive me, you know? So I was like, no, thank you. Like now I have like a French family, a community of amazing friends. I'm in a drum club. I should remind me to show you that footage. We performed like 2 weeks ago. I play drums and I'm good at it. What? I have never played an instrument in my life. And all of a sudden I'm in a drum club in the front. Like what I'm saying, I don't even recognize the person I was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I did not have any of this on my bingo card. Marriage being the one that I was like, no way. I mean, I'm an aunt to 2 more kids, you know, like like all that, like what? There's so many things in my life that I'm like, how did this happen? I mean, even that I'm doing videos, I would have never thought that at the age of 46 that I would let my face be a part of my work. You know what I mean? Being a writer was easier because no one knew what I looked like. So they wouldn't attack what I look like. They just read, they wouldn't even care. They wouldn't even look up who wrote that viral article. So I was able to stay pretty anonymous. And now it's like weird. My face is a part of what I do. And so like it can get criticized. My body can get criticized. I can be recognized. Luckily, like I don't go, no one recognizes me anywhere I go. Like it's happened like twice in all the, 3 years or whatever I've been doing this. But you know, whatever, like, you know, when all my actor friends, when they're like, they all knew, the women, that after 30, the chances of them being able to still do what they love were very slim. So they had to also learn how to direct and write. You know, like there is a short window for women to be in the public with their face and their career. And I started mine at like 44 or, yeah. Like everything happening in my life right now, I'm like, what? I'm happy about it, but I never would have predicted it. And all that, most of that is started in 40s. And yet all my 30s, all my 20s, I was like 40, when I turn 40, my life's over at 40. My life began at 40. I'm not crazy about my wrinkles, but also I'm not ashamed of them. You know, it's an honor and a privilege to age. And the way that like influencers, like I literally saw a woman like a couple months ago who had bought a straw. She drinks like this because drinking like this causes too many wrinkles. This woman is in her early 20s trying to sell people a straw that a man made, by the way. Oh God, I forgot to do that video. Oh, a man made that because he thought women may not want wrinkles around here. As if this is going to keep you from wrinkles. Like, and so it is such a act of rebellion to be single and happy, or even just like, or whatever, to just keep doing whatever you want to do in your 40s as a woman, in your 30s as a woman, in your 20s as a woman, in your 50s as a woman. Because at every turn, they're going to criticize you. I get criticized for what my choice is to be child-free and to be single most of my life, until recently. But all the women I know who became moms, they get shamed for being moms. They get treated like crap for being a mom. If you have kids, you get treated like crap. If you don't have kids, you get treated like crap. Like nothing you do is ever going to be like acceptable by society. And they want you so bad to hate yourself the older you get. And so what I learned from the women who were older than me, who were confident, was that all of that was wrong. Just seeing examples of women in their 40s and 50s who were like, I love myself. I love my life. I love my decisions. I own my decisions. I'm not ashamed of any of my decisions. I'm not ashamed of having a career. Like the women who were confident in their 40s and 50s and above, who had not necessarily done all the things that we're supposed to do, I will be forever indebted to them. That's one reason why I do what I do, is because when I was in my 20s, I didn't realize it was even an option to not have children. I didn't know. I was literally, I was on the top of a mountain somewhere, and I ran into a couple, and they're like talking about all their travels, and they're probably in their 40s or something, and they're like, oh, we're going here, we're going. I was like, dang, how do you do that? I thought only the people my age did this stuff. And they're like, we didn't have kids. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, that's literally how we do all this stuff. We didn't have kids. And I was like, you can just not do that? Like, you can be partnered and not have kids? And they're like, yeah. I was like, oh, I didn't know I had a choice. That moment when I was like a baby, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be condescending to anyone who was like 22, but I was 22. And I thought like I had to figure everything out. Y'all, I am 46. I still haven't figured everything out. In my 40s, I literally started over. And like, I am never going to figure things out. But I am trying my best to follow my intuition and stop trying to make decisions based on a timeline, based on like hitting some wall, which women don't hit a wall. Men are the wall. And they're the ones who age terribly, not us. Go to your high school reunion and then come back and tell me that anything different. The men all look like crap and the women are like stunning. And if they're not stunning, it's because they're married to a man who is aging them. and making it impossible for them to take care of themselves. But in general, we are like a fine wine. And I can't believe that at 22, thought I had to have kids, had to have it all figured out, and that 40 was old. So now that I'm an aunt, you know, I kind of have like my finger on the pulse of like young people, partly because young people follow me. I love to learn from young people. I love to learn from people my age. I love to learn from older people. I think we all learn a lot from each other. And young people really, you know, they know what's happening. They are like the front lines of indoctrination, right? So I'm like, how do I, like a lot of the stuff that I do, I literally do it with my nieces in mind. I'm like, what kind of message would help them? You know what I mean? And this idea, and one of the strongest messages that may never go away, and it's only going to get worse because women are like, I don't want to do that, is the like, youth is like the most important social currency, social capital, whatever, and that you lose power, you lose importance, you lose all these things. Do not believe that. Do not ever believe that. It is all a lie. Women and the things that we bring, the things that we do, the things that we know, the way that we live, the way that we care, so much of our wisdom and insight, when it is not beat out of us, is invaluable, right? Especially the older you get. Unless you are just in a toxic relationship and repeating cycles, and then like maybe don't listen to those women right now. And also, you're never going to have it figured out. I'm 46 now. I have no idea what 50 is going to look like, or 55. If all this can happen in 6 years, in my 40s, I don't even know how much I'm going to change in the next 2 years, 4 years, 8 years, 10 years. And I love that. I always want to be open to surprises. I always want to be open to evolving. You know, knowing yourself is like good, but it's also like holds you back. Because I kind of hid behind this thing where like, oh, I'm a tomboy. So then I didn't let myself wear cute dresses like this beautiful little dress that I got used for $3, but it's like fancy. And I just bought this belt to make it look fancy. The hat I'm not going to wear later, but it's really hard for me to look in the camera without a hat on because I have sensitive eyes because I was a whitewater raft guide for so long and literally looked, and a ski instructor, and like actually damaged my eyes from looking in whatever. That's one reason why I'm always wearing a hat, besides the fact I love my hats and I love talking about, you know what I mean? I almost said the word and I had to cut myself. Anyway, one of my goals is to embrace the older wise woman in me and the child in me and the Schmeck's goddess in me and all of the parts of me all at the same time. I don't ever want that childlike curiosity and creativity to be beaten out of me. But I don't also want to deny that, you know, I may have some wise things to share. And also I have more to learn. And also I don't know what's next. I mean, seriously, 12 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, I would have never thought that I'd be even wearing a dress and liking it, you know? It's like, I'm a tomboy. Okay, I am, but I also like dresses now. You know what I mean? I don't know. This video is a little all over the place. I don't feel like talking about current events today. I'm trying to take a break. I work. It's really hard for me to not work this whole vacation, so I've been trying to just let myself, you know, do a little bit here and there. I still do too much in my work life. I think I'm wearing this dress wrong. Okay, I'm a little paranoid. I made the mistake of going on Twitter the other night and seeing what the Supreme Court did. And then I did it again when I woke up in the morning, and then I was a jerk to my family all day because I was so worried. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm like, can just not look at the news the first thing in the morning or at the end of the day, and like kind of keep track of what's happening, but also like let myself just not talk about like grape and domestic violence and stuff for a few days. Sometimes I forget that like I pay a price for the subjects I talk about because they're really hard. Even though I try to make it funny and digestible and entertaining, it's still like reading about this and talking about it does take a toll on me. So I'm trying to talk about other stuff right now, and I hope you like it. But I just like, I can't tell you how invaluable it was for me to have women in my life who were breaking the rules, just doing things differently, doing it way that made them happy. And that doesn't mean that just women who don't have kids, because there's plenty of women who had kids who were breaking the rules, because the way they had kids, the way they refused to center their husbands, the way that they refused to be only a mother. Do you know what I mean? Like, whatever. I'm not saying like, I only listen to like I just women who are just like refuse to do what society makes them do, or refuse to do it the way society makes them do it, and refuse to hate themselves as they age. Instead, they embrace it and they feel even more confident in who they are. And the more you don't do the things people tell you you have to do, in terms of decisions that you actually have control over, the more confident you get. Seriously. God, I had no idea that these little acts of rebellion, and not rebellion just for the sake of rebelling, but rebelling about, like, I'm not going to do this thing that I don't want to do. I'm not going to date when I don't want to date just because I'm supposed to date, you know? Just, nobody knows what's best for you but you. Nobody. And I'm like, really, like, I was like, the first day I got here a few days ago, I was like crying pretty hard because I was like, oh my God, I'm so proud of younger Melanie for going to France. I was so delusional and ill-prepared despite all of my traveling, all of my experience. I was not prepared for what I was about to enter. And taking that risk, and it didn't make sense to anyone but me. It made no sense to anyone but me and the people close to me. I run things by people I trust. I'm not just like, I want to move to France. I literally like talk it through with people who know me and who hold a microphone to my intuition. So what I did 6 years ago made no sense, but it opened up this whole new adventure and this self-discovery and love and relationships with amazing people and all kinds of other things. And I still don't understand why I did it. I just knew I needed to do it. And it didn't make sense to anyone else. So whatever it is that you just feel so, not in like fantasy land and not in like delusional in terms of like, I'm just going to do this thing, like not running away kind of thing, but literally something consistently, quietly over a period of time just feels right. And it also makes you uncomfortable. And it also, that it seems scary. Not the things that are like, oh my God, I'm going to do that. And more like, oh my God, I want to do this and I'm terrified. That kind of thing. Please keep following that. Even if it doesn't work out, like it usually leads to something else, a lesson, or the timing of something that does work out. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I've been really emotional this week because it's, you know, and it's like this place, you know, like after I left here last time, I started this whole new adventure of being like emigrating to France and staying and like being like French Americanish. I mean, you know what I mean by being like in a French like having a whole world over there that I had no idea would happen. And it's all because I just took this chance after things just kept pointing me in that direction. Nobody knows what's best for you. And don't listen to people who are naysayers who don't get you. Listen to the advice of people who know you. But do not listen to advice of people who don't know you or who are just like secretly hate you or jealous of you or just like project their fears onto you. And please stop worrying about turning 40. Please stop worrying about turning 50. I could start to sense that like, 50's coming. And then I'm like, wait a second, I already like aced 40. 50 is going to be, oh my, sorry. Anthony's distracting me right now, like in a good way, because I have to go. I'm going to be late for dinner with my family. But I am trying to take my own lesson to not be afraid of 50 now that I am 46, because, you know, 46, 47, 48, I know that's when I'm going to be like, oh God, what's 50? You know what I mean? I got through 40 with that same mentality of like, yeah, I feel old. Yeah, I haven't done this, that I'm supposed to do. It's good to have that like kind of things that make you question things and reassess and start to take actions towards something, right? Instead of just kind of being like, oh, well, this is what I'm doing. But this idea that life is over for us, we're supposed to have it all figured out by this age or that age or that age. No, I hope in my 70s, if I live that long, in my 80s, I'm still going to be like, oh, what else am I going to find out about myself? You will never fully know yourself. That's a good thing. Otherwise, you ain't never changing, right? You want to change and grow. Fear of the unknown, all of the jobs and all the things I've ever done really did make me comfortable with fear of the unknown, and even still, I hate it. But I'm still let myself sit in it and take little action. Anyway, I don't know if this made sense, but I'm on vacation and I'm trying to make myself talk about other stuff. So on my Patreon, thank you. Like, comment, share, all that stuff. It's the comment song. It's the comment song. It's the comment song. It's the comment song. Hey, do you have a comment or a story or two? Hey, do you have some wisdom or insight or something to say? I hope you do. Hey, oh my God, I just rhymed that. Oh wow, it's the comment song. You got a little bit more time to write a comment for me. And hit it, Anthony.
Here's the comment song.
The comment song. This is the comment song. Okay, sorry. We didn't rehearse this. This is improvised. Leave your comment. Wrap it up. Wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up. The comment song. Wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up. The comment song. Okay. I don't have my instruments or, well, I have my microphone. I'm going to use it next time. Y'all, I brought this microphone on vacation. Anyway, bye. Et voila. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I was like, Anthony, say goodbye. Okay, bye.